This Autotrader 400 Betting Picks 2026 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. With Daytona safely in the books now and all of the controversy, never mind, the controversy still rages on. We move to another drafting track, Cody, to continue the controversy. It is Atlanta. Actually, no, let's strike that anymore. It's not Atlanta. It is EchoPark and Hampton, Georgia. Let's give it its props. But yeah, Cody, we're back to another drafting track, back to more madness, and back to coin flips. If you know there were any coin flips to be had.
That's right. Atlanta, not even associated with this place in any way, shape, or form. But we'll probably still continue to call it Atlanta because that's what it's been for a long time. But yeah, you always got to respect the sponsor. So EchoPark Speedway, we'll do our best, Rod.
I will no longer refer to it as Atlanta because it's not even in Atlanta. So I know that as I bring up these stats, I will still refer to it by EchoPark because, like we said, Cody, we are people that know what sponsors want, and we have to give sponsors their due.
Hey, a lot of things wouldn't exist without sponsors. You know, I saw a lot of people complaining about the Daytona 500. There's so many commercials, Rod. Well, do you go to work for free? You probably don't. So the commercials, that's how these people make their money, and that's how we get NASCAR races on Fox. So that's how it works, baby.
Well, and I will say that kudos to them, though, for going side by side for a lot of that. I know that's not going to continue all season long.
Which is unfortunate. It should. Like, there's no reason not to go side by side, even, anywhere. I don't know why we wouldn't, but maybe someday. Fox has made a lot of improvements, so shout out to them. We'll see.
We'll definitely see. Let's check in with the chat real quick. Rowdy checking in. Evening, gentlemen. We caught the book sleeping earlier. Ricky 11-1 for a top 10. Let it ride for sure. I know he said
join the Discord. Yeah, like Nev said, pays to join the Discord. Yeah, there was a mispriced Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 11-1 top 10 out there earlier. Quite a few guys in the Discord got that. So yeah, sg.pn/Discord. It's a good place to be it's been busy in there for being a Tuesday. It was busy in there today, Rod.
I love it. I absolutely love it. If I have to keep scrolling up and I miss half of it, Again, guys, I see everything. I don't always get to answer back right away because there's tons of conversations being had, but I see it all, and I absolutely love it. So Marcus wants to know who's everyone picks to win at Atlanta. Who's he going to pick?
It's Christopher Bell. Won in Atlanta last year, and that started a 3-race win streak. So maybe he can pull that off again. JDK checking in. Afternoon, fellas. Let's go. Already made money. Yeah, JDK actually bet that. And then got a cash out option for 3 times already. So already been a profitable EchoPark Speedway race for the JDK. And of course, cousin Danny Rod has made his return to the show. He couldn't get away from us, couldn't He missed us too much. So we're happy to see you back, Cousin Danny. He's also back in the Discord if you really want some entertainment. Wants to know who the handsome devil in the thumbnail is. Sorry, Rod, I didn't put you on the thumbnail, so he must be referring to Carson Hocevar.
I am very sore that you did not put me on the thumbnail. I feel like I would have made a much better.
Your caricature is on the thumbnail for the recap show.
I saw that.
So there you go.
I like that. I like our little thing. We may have to just use that from now on.
I know. That's I was playing around with the stuff, and I was like, you know what? Because I don't know. I didn't want to. And last week, I threw in Reddick on the graphic after he won quick, but it was like, yeah, we don't know who's going to win. We don't know who we're going to be talking about, but we know who we'll be talking. So we'll just use our fun characters. Shout out to JDK. I believe he's the one who made those for us.
He did too, and that's the thing. I love it. There was a couple times where people have done that for us, and I absolutely love when listeners contribute in ways that make the show that much more pleasurable for all of us. So, but I do want to tell you what makes it pleasurable for those of you who have won your gift cards and all of the stuff that the prizes that over the Daytona 500 contest. That SGPN merch store, it is awesome. But guess what else is awesome? The SGPN app. It's in your app store right now. You can have all of our free picks and our podcast in one easy place. So if you love NASCAR, that's cool. But if you love all kinds of other sports, soccer's out there a little bit. There's basketball and baseball and all kinds of crazy stuff. So make sure you go download the app and just catch up on all the shows that you may have missed in the SGPN in the wonderful network that we have. So
absolutely.
All right, Cody, where else?
Yeah, a couple more in the chat. Hunter checking in. I got a tie with Carson and Zane Smith again this week, just like I did last week. I think he's saying as long shot guys he wants to back again. We'll be talking about both of those guys. And Hunter checking in as well. Different Hunter. Other Hunter. Hunter number 2 checking in. Says Chase Elliott. We'll be talking about him today as well. So stay tuned. And I just wanted to give one more quick plug. If you haven't listened to it, go back the last podcast in your feed or on the YouTube channel. We did do a recap Sunday night live after the Daytona 500. Had a couple of people call in, got to give our reactions on the race, what we thought of everything, the excitement, the entertainment. Went over all the Cup Series bets, which is going to be something weekly. Going back, reviewing the bets. We hit a few things, didn't hit everything, but there was a lot of stuff that was really fucking close, which is what you're looking for at Super Speedways. So, that was a ton of fun. Make sure you go back and check that show out as you continue through your week.
You wanted transparency and accountability. You got transparency and accountability out there. So, make sure you go listen to that show. I tell you what, it's because you asked for it that it's there. So please go back and listen to it because that's, one of those episodes where you ask for it, you want it, we bring it back. And if you don't use it, we'll take it away again. So don't be the reason why a second time around, right? Go back and listen to that recap episode or you'll be sorry. Hey, listen, I wanted to go over one thing real quick before we go over any news from Atlanta, because this debate, and we're not going to take very long to kind of settle this because we'll never settle this, but I keep seeing the debate for the drafting fuel saving rage on and on and on and on across all kinds of different people, right? Talking about this. And I thought, well, if you don't want the fuel saving, then we make the Daytona 500 60 laps long. Then there's no chance for you to fuel save. Like, just go out there and, if you don't want 200 laps of nothing but follow the leader and 3 wide, then make the race shorter and make it to where they can't sit there and tick off laps, right? I don't know what the solution is, but I sat there thinking to myself, well, if you don't like it, then we just make the race a sprint. And then there's no reason to go out there and to save fuel. And you're just going to go out and run it. Because no matter how long you make it, other than maybe 1 tank of fuel, people are going to have that strategy. So I don't know what the balance is, Cody, but I just fine, make the Daytona 500 the Daytona 60, and we'll see how fans really like that.
Well, I've actually heard some people bring that up, that they should shorten the race, which I definitely disagree. Maybe you shorten some of the other races throughout the season. The Coke 600 you don't touch, the Daytona 500 you don't touch. Those races are what they are, and they should not change. I will steadfast stick by that. Fuel saving is part of the strategy. Like, I know back in your day, you guys weren't smart enough to realize that if you saved fuel, it would take less time to fuel. And also there's an element of that. And you laugh, but that's sort of what it is, Rod, is as we progress, each generation gets a little bit smarter and learns things. And you guys didn't know how to do that. I'm sorry that you guys weren't smart enough. You didn't have the data. You didn't have all the stuff we have today, but well, it's progressed and we've figured it out. And now that we know, like Alan Gustafson has said many times, once the cat's out of the bag, you can't put the cat back in the bag. It's just how it is. Like, now that we know that you can save fuel, you're going to save fuel. That was the other thing, Cousin Danny, electric cars. Then they don't have to save fuel, right? But that'll really get the boomers going. But yeah, it's part of what it is. I don't know. Denny Hamlin said him and Dale Jr. were talking to NASCAR about some ideas they had. Obviously, they know more about it. Maybe there's something they can figure out. Maybe smaller gas tanks is the smaller fuel tanks, so that make the fuel tank however long it takes to change tires. Although they're not always going to change tires unless you keep putting on tires that wear more, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's answers out there. We'll see. And it's not a simple fix, because getting rid of stages will not fix it. Because if we get rid of stages, okay, now you just run 500 miles. What do you want to do over 500 miles? Make the fuel last as long as you can over 500 miles, so you have to make less pit stops. Or so when you do pit, there's shorter pit stops. So getting rid of stages doesn't fix it. Adding another stage doesn't fix it either, because it's going to continue to be, okay, how can we make the next pit stop the shorter pit stop? So the last pit stop is the shortest pit stop, so you're still going to save for it. So neither of those things even fix it. It's just, now that we know that fuel saving is an important part of racing, because it is in a lot of ways and shapes and forms. We see it in F1, IndyCar, the Indianapolis 500 in particular. But also Scott Dixon has won like 15 races the last 3 years by saving fuel. It's part of racing, guys.
Yep. And it's going to continue to, like you said, be a part of racing for as long as it is. And I know that there'll be a lot of people. I mean, this is just like the Canadian Football League, where every year rules go back under the hood and everybody wants a sweeping change to the game. Now, CFL fans are going to get that this year, because there's a lot of things that are changing in their sport. But, again, all the changes that people make are not always the best changes for the sport. So it's just, it's a 100% cat out. So again, I didn't want to have the entire debate for this one. I just wanted to bring it to the attention that, yes, people are being heard, but I really wanted to get the whole make the race shorter thing off my chest. That way people could be like, well, that's the stupidest idea. And it is. I'm not saying that we should do it. I'm just saying, like, what do you want? You come up with a better idea than the folks that are thinking about this 24 hours a day.
Well, and do we have to find something to complain about every time? Can we just be happy? Like, can we are you going to let 40 laps of 3-wide racing ruin the entire event? That was a great event. That was again, let's make it fun again. That's kind of our theme this year, right? Make betting fun again. Let's make racing fun again. Let's enjoy what we got. This is why I don't know why we have to complain about everything. I know we're complaining about people complaining, but stop complaining so I could stop complaining about your complaining.
I mean, it's just a vicious cycle, right? It's a snake eating its head. You can never get away from it. But all right, but we are in Atlanta.
Neil checking in. We haven't seen Neil before. Just wanted to give him a shout out. Hi, Neil. Welcome. If they make the first stage shorter than the fuel run, that'd be fun. You'd see what the result is. Possibly. I mean, we did get that. And again, situation dictates things. We had them going all out trying to run those guys out of fuel in the first stage, although that didn't work because you had a group of guys that stayed out that ended up getting all the stage points because they did save the fuel. Well, Kyle Busch, first of all, tried to run the whole stage without pitting, which was a bad idea. But yeah, I don't know. Like Myron says, NASCAR fans will never be happy. They'll always find something to complain about. I think that pretty well sums it up, Rod.
I think it does as well. All right. Well, look, we'll talk about a couple of other news stories. I think there might be some on the table when we get back. No?
I don't know. It's been quiet. There's not really.
Has been quiet.
I don't know. There's not much news, which I think is probably good. We're into the season now. We're just ready to rip. So I say we come back and rip, Rod.
I love the way that sounds. All right, we'll come back and we'll rip. But before we do any of that, let me tell you about our friends over at Kalshi. Kalshi, a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for your favorite sports. Besides sports, they got tons of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell. You can even trade on the weather out there in Hampton, Georgia. Maybe, I don't know, to figure out if we are going to have another weather consideration out there in Hampton for this race. With Kalshi, you can trade on anything. We are very, very tantalizingly close now to the beginning of Survivor 50. Man, Aubrey Bracco is still trading as the favorite to win the entirety of Survivor 50. The yes is at 83 cents. So a $100 investment will bring you back 121. But I want to turn my attention all the way back down to somebody that I've been giving you from the very beginning. And that is, of course, the Riz God himself, Rizzgod. I still think that he is going to be a threat to win this thing. And he is actually trading still now. He's back down to 2 cents. So you guys have you guys have traded him down. So a $200 investment will bring you back, or $20 investment rather, will bring you back $1,000 on Rizzo to win Survivor 50. I think I've spent enough time on that. I'm sorry. But new Kalshi customers, you get $20 when you use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. I love Survivor. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is the #1 social sports book and casino out there. It's available in 35 or more states, including yours, probably Texas and California. I know it's mine. Get in on the action with Rebet. Plus, get a 100% purchase match up to $100 with promo code SGPN. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. They've been showing old episodes leading up to the Survivor 50, and I am just feasting on all that stuff, man. I watched the couple seasons that I joined it in on, and then I went back and watched the entirety. There's 40 some odd seasons. Well, 30 at the time that I binged on.
That's a lot of seasons.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of seasons.
So
let's see. Let's wrap it up with the chat before we jump into the race here. JDK says one small note. McDowell did set the record for best fuel mileage ever. They, it was amazing. I don't remember all the stats, but they thought it was like a 44 lap. Don't quote me on this, but it was like a 44 lap window, and he went like 69 laps or something. It was crazy longer than they thought it was going to be, which was pretty insane and amazing. They were able to save that much fuel. And then Myron, nevertheless, it was a great Daytona 500. Still a lot of media buzz, which is great. Obviously, the finish, the way that kind of all played out was crazy. Michael Jordan being there, getting the trophy, that obviously plays into it as well and plays up with the media. So great to see, NASCAR's on ESPN more than it's been since whenever ESPN had NASCAR last, which was like 2014, I think. So been good to see. And hopefully that momentum will keep rolling. We're headed to a track, Rod, at EchoPark Speedway that's produced some pretty good races, some really good finishes for us since this reconstruction a couple of years ago.
Indeed. Well, then let us rip. As we said before, it is the Autotrader 400 at EchoPark Speedway. We are set for 260 laps around this 1.540 mile paved track for 400 miles around the EchoPark Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Not even Atlanta anymore. But again,
it never was. Not anymore.
If you're new to this particular track and you're new to NASCAR, understand that this is a very unique track in that they took this 1.5 mile just regular intermediate track and banked it to where it's now a super speedway. We put that in. It's a drafting track.
Drafting track is the proper terminology, of course, Rob.
Yes. So it's still the same brand of racing that we watched last week with a little twist because the track is shorter, and I don't think we've seen a lot of three wide. There's not a lot of 3 wide at this.
There's definitely been some. But it is a much smaller track.
Yeah, it's definitely a much smaller track. So, and there's a lot more strategy that we've seen. But like Cody said, this has produced some of the better racing that we've seen and some of the better finishes that we've seen over the last few seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, take everything that we got at Daytona last week. Now you could get that at Atlanta, but wait, there's more. Not only do you get that, you also get a smaller track. This is a 1.5 mile track, like you just mentioned, compared to the 2 mile Daytona. So it's more condensed. It's skinnier, if you will, more narrow surface, plus a smaller track in general. So that creates closer quarters racing than we already had, and makes small mistakes bigger at a track like that. And this is also a higher tire wear track. The surface, which was just redone in 2022, well, in the offseason between 21 and 22, when they redid this and repaved it, but it's worn really quickly in that Georgia summers and winters, like beating it down. It's worn really quickly. So we've already seen tire wear and things come into play. And now they've also gone to Goodyear and made the tire. So this is per Bob Pockrass. Cup Series is going to have a new right side tire for Atlanta. The construction is similar to the changes made for the tire used at other 1.5 mile tracks, designed to have more wear. So now, not only is the track already going to wear more, but we're going to try and make it wear more with the right side tires now. So that will change the whole basket of, not only is tire wear going to be a factor, handling is going to be a factor, the smaller track's going to be a factor, all that. Plus, you got to do it all in the draft because it's a quote unquote drafting track. So I think we're in for a really, really good show this weekend. Of course, we had the 3-wide finish a couple of years, 2 summers ago, or 2 springs ago, I think it was, when Daniel Suarez got the best of Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch. 0.007 seconds separated the 3 of them as they crossed the line side by side. Crazy finish. We've had some really good and exciting racing here. It blends in really well with the 1.5-mile racing we already get, which has been great in this car, plus the drafting track style of stuff. So it's a great blend and really has become the best drafting track product-wise, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, again, we just watch it. It's the best of both worlds, really, is what it ends up being. It's the best of pack racing that, because a lot of times when you watch, especially in the pre-next gen days when they would race around these tracks and it would just get single file, and you want to talk about 3-wide being boring for a while. How about just watching cars strung out single file for a long time?
I liked it better when Ned Jarrett won the race and second place was 14 laps down. And if you laughed at that, that's actually did happen one time. I don't think it was. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Ned Jarrett. No, I think it was Ned Jarrett. Somebody won the race by 14 laps over second place.
Yeah, again, that's what I'm saying. Like you just pick your poison. Then what do you want to see? Because
they didn't save any fuel on that one, right?
They sure did not save any fuel in that one. They were burning through everything. But yeah. Anyways, so the entry list is a lot different than the Daytona 500 entry list, because it's pretty much the regulars. Well, one thing we don't have to worry about this week is your driver is not making the field, which is nice. We'll have to worry about that in the O'Reilly race. One driver won't make it in that one. But for the Cup race, there's 38 entries, so they will all make it. Your 36 chartered cars, your normal guys that are going to be in there every week. Again, this year, like last year, those are the same drivers for all 36 races. We don't have any of the seats changing or anything. So that's pretty simple. They're all entered into this one. 2 open teams. JJ Yaley is going to be in this one. BJ McLeod. They're going to use that money they won at Daytona by running 6 laps and enter this race. So, hey, there you go. Those will be your 2 open cars. A little disappointed we didn't get a couple more open cars in this one. Bit unfortunate. You'd love to see, obviously, a Corey LaJoie type get into this. Maybe had they made the 500, that would have been more of an option, a possibility. Tearing that car up at Daytona, I'm sure, didn't help. But, yeah, there it is, 38 cars. Pretty simple. Yaley, McLeod. I would say those guys factor into this one. Not that they really factored in last week, but even less so at Atlanta. While it is still a drafting track, you can still certainly get better finishes. I think it does tend to be a track that leans more towards the favorites while still having plenty of guys that can get up there and get it done. I would have loved to have seen Corey Heim get back in again and get another shot, because
he was impressive until the late mistake, right, where he dumped his boss, which is never good. But we will get to see him in Saturday's truck race, Rod. So we will be talking about that tomorrow when we talk trucks and O'Reilly. He's going to be entered in the truck race to defend his, defend his win from last spring, I guess. So there you go.
Indeed. Slow roll checking in real quick before we start laying down the bets, saying, how do you not love this show? Cody always looks like when he gets done with the show, he shotguns a beer, takes a shot at Jack, then goes and starts rebuilding a motor. Well,
I didn't shotgun it, but
how do you know?
I'm sure I have some Jack Daniels in this room too, somewhere.
Sure. I mean, listen, who doesn't?
I got a McLaren Jack Daniels bottle right there, Rod.
There you go. See, and he shotguns that thing. All right.
It looks like it's full, but it's just water.
I was going to say it's all, because it doesn't matter.
I already drank
it. Liquid. Yeah. All right. Well, Cody, then let us get to these bets for the Autotrader 400 at EchoPark Speedway. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I am too. Same approach. It's still a super speedway. It's still a drafting track. You have to look at it that way, betting on this one. The quote-unquote real betting will start next week at COTA and then really get into it at Phoenix in a couple of weeks here. So just keep that in mind as you go through this. But I'm going to start with a couple of head-to-heads that I really like. One of them over on Caesars. The score, actually, is where I found this one, formerly ESPN Bet. Chase, no. God damn, I can't even fucking read the right box.
All right, welcome to Tuesday.
All right. All right, Rod, we're going to kick off this card. I'm going to start with a couple of head-to-heads that I really like. Over on the score, formerly ESPN Bet, I like Kyle Busch over Brad Keselowski. You can get this at even money, which I think is a pretty great deal here. Again, I'm looking for plus money, or even money is just as good. And I really like this matchup. You look at Brad Keselowski, could have won the Daytona 500 last week, according to him. I don't know if he would have got there, but didn't get there anyway. So whatever. Great drafting track driver, but it's not been so great here at Atlanta. Now, in the fall, he did almost win this race. I believe he was passed on the last lap or in the closing laps, and ended up with a second-place finish to Chase Elliott. But prior to that, 39th place, 19th place, 33rd place in the last 3 starts. Now, we did have a 6th and a 2nd place in the starts before that. So there's been it's like Keselowski with any super speedway or drafting track race, if you will, where he is good at all of them and always is going to be in the mix to win. You'll certainly see him run up front in this one. But getting to the end, we know how aggressive he is. He's one of the most, if not the most, I would say he is the most aggressive driver in the series when it comes to drafting tracks. And that doesn't always work out well for him. So you look at Kyle Busch. He lost to Brad in the fall here. Obviously, Brad finished 2nd. Kyle was in 21st, but before that, 7th, 3rd, which the 3rd was again by 0.007 seconds, 5th and 10th place finishes for Kyle Busch. For the last 5 races, he's pretty easily beat Brad Keselowski, a 7th to a 39th, a 7th to a 19th, and a 3rd to a 33rd. So outside of the race here in the fall, it's all gone Kyle's way. Shouldn't be even money on one side when Keselowski, I think, is minus 115, minus 120 on the other side. Doesn't quite make sense to me. So I'll take Kyle Busch, who's been the more consistent guy. Both of them had okay races last week. Obviously, Keselowski ended up at the better side at the end. Not going to lean into that or look into that too much. But give me Kyle Busch here. The tire wear, I think, probably plays more into Kyle Busch's hands. I feel like he'll be better at handling that. Whereas Keselowski will probably be more risky and take more chances with things. That's how he tends to be, how Paul Wolf tends to be, which is not his crew chief, actually. So never mind on that. That's wow, flashback to 2021 there. Okay, next head-to-head, Rod, after I struggled so much through that one. We're going to go over to Caesars for this one. I don't generally take minus 115 head-to-heads at drafting tracks, but I cannot pass this one up. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised Caesars is even offering this. You got AJ Allmendinger and Noah Gragson matched up, and this is an easy smash on the Dinger side for me. Now, it is a drafting track, so you have to factor that in, right, as far as your risk analysis goes. But AJ Allmendinger's finishes here, he's made 4 starts on this repaved circuit, and it's 12th place, a 14th place, a 3rd place, and a 16th place. So 4 for 4, 16th place or better, a 3rd place in there. That's great. Noah Gragson in those same 4 races, 25th, 34th, 34th, but wait, it gets worse, 36th. That's an average of 20.75 spots better that AJ Allmendinger has finished in him in the 4 races they've gone head-to-head at this track on the repave. This is easily AJ Allmendinger for me, and honestly, not sure why these 2 drivers are matched up. Back in the recap show, we mentioned that we didn't know AJ was in the race last week because he just wasn't really in the picture, right? He finished 19th, so an okay day, and Gragson did finish 11th, so we'll give him his flowers there. But, Gragson is just, I don't know. He's no Gragson, and he's not a guy you can trust on drafting tracks, certainly, whereas AJ has been great on them. Let us down a little bit last week, but he's averaging finishing 20.75 spots better, and he's 4 for 4 easily beating Gragson by at least 13 spots in every race they've gone against each other in this reconfiguration. So easy AJ Allmendinger for me, minus 115 over Noah Gragson on Caesars.
Yeah, and as far as Busch over Kes goes, I feel like this is Kyle Busch coming back. I know that the outcome was not what he wanted, but I feel like the run leading up to it was actually not bad. So I feel like
some mojo, some Daytona 500 pole, it doesn't really count for anything, but it does count for something. So, we'll take it.
We will take it. And then as far as Dinger's concerned, yeah, I absolutely love me some AJ Allmendinger. So I can't argue with you there. My spirit driver is there. All right. Well, Hunter is already blowing the dock through, talking about Chase Elliott, top 10, minus 110 at FanDuel. Is this a steal? I'll go one better for you as well, and I will take that same Chase Elliott, and he's in a head-to-head matchup against Austin Cindric at minus 115 over on Score. Here's the thing about this, right? Chase Elliott, if you look at our friends over there at the iFantasy race, they've got Chase Elliott as they've got actually next gen RPM which stands for ranking per metric. So they use this, fancy thing with driver ranking and driver rating and average finish, turned it into a score. Well, Chase Elliott sits on top of that. Chase Elliott also sits on top of the next-gen average finish heat chart with a 9.1 average finish out of all drivers at the EchoPark Speedway. So Chase Elliott is just good overall. 2022 in the spring, 6th place finish. In 2022 in the fall, he won 13th and 15th in 2023 in the fall. But again, that 13th place finish was also after he was kind of coming back from that injury that took him out, and he didn't even get to race in the spring race in 2023. So 13th and 15th in those, 8th in 2024, 20th, and then he won last year. So I foresee another run like that with him. He's actually second overall in the speed rankings, according to iFantasy Race. And then if you go to the tool that we use for Win the Race, right? Because we are, again, teamed up with Win the Race. They do the 100,000 race simulator. So 100K race simulator for this. And I'm telling you right now, Chase Elliott right up there in terms of all the favorites. I'm not going to spoil it. You got to go and subscribe to Win the Race to get all the information. But I will say that Chase Elliott is among the top names in the list as far as a finishing position and the fair market for all of that. Chase Elliott's going to get this done. Now, Austin Cindric, on the other hand, not completely terrible on this track in terms of average finishes are concerned. Austin Cindric, oh wait, never mind. He is. I'm thinking of AJ Allmendinger. Austin Cindric, not good at all. 16th overall in average finish on this. And I'm not really sure why they have this as a matchup, which is why I snagged it. But Austin Cindric finishes of 32nd, 3rd, 11th, 12th, 4th, 10th. But the last couple of them have been 28 and 38. So an average finish here of 17.3, which is, miles ahead of what Chase Elliott's is. And, for Austin Cindric, I get it. I know that Blaney's fast here. I know that Logano's fast here. But for Cindric, it's just not necessarily been his track at all. His speed ranking overall, he ranks 15th in terms of average speed ranking to Chase Elliott's second. So, yeah, this is not a close matchup to me. I know Elliott's going to have another good run here like he's done every single year. And barring that little stretch that Austin Cindric had between 2023 and 2024, where he had some pretty solid finishes of 3rd and 11th and 4th and 10th and 12th. But that's not enough to sway me into taking him against Chase Elliott, who we just saw. Now Cody had the chance to win the Daytona 500 this Sunday.
Oh, he really did. And Dirty Reg was wondering, actually a couple of minutes ago in the chat, if Chase Elliott got done dirty on the last lap. I don't think he got done dirty. Herbst, of course, is going to pick his teammate, as he should. That's the point of it, right? But, he certainly had a chance, and he's been great at this style of track. And in this track, at Atlanta in particular, his home track, he's been really good here. You were just talking about our friends over at Win the Race, Rod, wintherace.info. Make sure you check them out. We absolutely love them. But the question was posed by Hunter, as you mentioned, is Chase Elliott top 10 minus 110 a steal? Well, if you go over to them and you look at Win the Race, they've got the tools. They run all the sims and stuff. He's listed as their third highest percentage of top 10 finishes of all the drivers, and it's at 44.4% of the time. So, if you've got questions like this on bets that maybe we're not giving out, you want to know how much of a steal is this? They say out of 1,000 races, 44% of the time he's hitting it. It's pretty, right? So what does that mean to you? That's where a place like that makes good, it has a really good tool to use, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Indeed. Yeah. No, again,
and
it also gives you the fair market value for them as well. So obviously go in there, dive in and look at what fair market value is for the odds or for the finishing position that they're projecting as well. Lots of great tools in that. So again, if you want to know more and kind of the insights of what we use, go to Win the Race, because they definitely have fantastic tools at your fingertips. All right, we got more bets to get to, but let's do that on the other side of this. I want to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog's got you covered for pick'em for almost every single sport under the sun. You can get in on Underdog and win up to $5 1,000 times your entry. It's the Olympics, my friends. If you're not watching the Olympics, what are you doing? Like I've watched monobob, I've watched pairs skating, I've watched freestyle skiing, and now how about the slope style? Oh my God, I love slope style. Whew, these folks, man, they get some serious air, do some all kinds of tricks. Anna Gasser, she is the women's snowboard slope style, and man, she's just so damn good. They've got her finishing position in the snowboard slope style at 3.5, the Austrian slope styler. I'm going to take the better than for sure. This is 2.11. She's already won a couple of gold medals in her time as the snowboarding queen out there in Austria, just killing it. She won the big air a couple of times, and yeah, she's just that damn good. I remember covering her a couple of years ago in her last one. So Anna Gasser, I'm going to take her to get on the podium at the Winter Olympics for the women's snowboard slopestyle. You can get in on all of that, and if you're a new customer, you play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. Rhythm, been on a heater for college and NBA picks. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or you can make your own and play with the sliders. If you're looking to go premium, now's the time. Use promo code SGPN when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm, use promo code SGPN25. I was watching the ski freestyle, right? The ski style. Those, oh my God, those ladies, they were, just amazing to me, first and foremost, how much air they get. And then to contort yourself and to pull yourself and then to have the wherewithal to land. I'm like, holy cow, kid. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, some of that stuff, very crazy. Well, just watching some of the Olympic sports and just like, these people are, best in the world, Rob.
They are
really good at what they do.
Ski jumping, like I was watching the Big Hill, the team mixed event, and those guys, dude, they're like flying like squirrels just out there. It's
crazy,
insane.
It is
John
insane.
Little backing something up for me. Thank you, John. YouTube is having an outage, so you got to watch Cody Z and Roddy V on Facebook. Yeah,
there you go. We're streaming over there. I don't know. YouTube is being funny tonight. It's seems to still be up for some, but maybe not in Missouri, I guess.
I guess. I know that's what I'm saying. Like I was trying to look it up here and it wasn't working. So anyways, for those of you that are hanging around and are watching, welcome. We're going to continue to lay down the bets.
All right, Rod, next up for me, I'm going to go to the top 10 market. I'm going to roll with Zane Smith, top 10. You get actually DraftKings is the best number on this. A little bit surprising. Their top 10 numbers usually aren't super great, but is in this case. Zane Smith, top 10 plus 320. Love this one. First two starts here, 35th, 21st. Decent starts, good runs, right? That was with Spire in that weird year that he had there. Then he goes to front row last year, 11th place, 7th place. He's gotten better in each race he's been here. Obviously, 11th and 7th makes you feel good about getting over there. Much talk about him today over in the Discord. The guys knew that I would be on him, Rod. But how could you not be, right? You look at last week. Goes out there, does really well with the fuel saving, which was impressive in the first stage. And he goes out and wins stage one, grabs the points there. I think he's third or fourth in the point standings going into this race. Like, had a great points day because then at the end of the race, he was right there. He was pushing Elliott for a little while in that last lap. They got disconnected, but had a great run there. He's been top 13 in 4 of his 6 starts at Daytona as well. So improvement in each race he's had here. Been really good at Daytona as well, which Daytona, I would say, much closer to Atlanta than Talladega is for sure. So if you want to spill some stuff over, that'd be the place to do it from. But I think this is a great number for Zane. Top 10 plus 320, really good number. And then FanDuel still has Riley Herbst at 7-1. This is a much bigger number than you're getting almost everywhere else. Around plus 400, 420 in most other places. FanDuel, generally, especially with the longer shots, has the best top 10s. So shop around, like we say, because it is vast, different prices everywhere, every week. But Riley Herbst, top 10, plus 700 over there. Really like him. Look what he did for us last week. That's really case in point, right? We had him 125-1 as an outright. We had him plus 490 for a top 10, so an even shorter number than this. Goes out, he's pushing. He is the sole reason, in my opinion, on the last lap that Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500 because he gave him the run, gave him the push. Then he even played the left tackle and blocked Brad Keselowski to make sure he wasn't going to catch him, right? So Riley Herbst has Tyler Reddick's got a lot to thank Riley Herbst for, but he showed his prowess, his ability on the drafting tracks, get through the chaos, find yourself up there at the end. He had a legit shot, and had he just cleared Brad, that run Brad had coming might have been enough to shove him up there and win. We might have been talking about Riley Herbst being the Daytona 500 champion, but everything you saw last week is exactly what you want from him. And so that's why we're betting on him again. 7-1, crazy number for him. 17th and 28th in his 2 starts here. Good finishes, right? 17th is great when you got a 7-1 to finish 7 spots better. We'll take it. He continues to get better as he goes along. Last week proved everything we need to know about Riley Herbst on these drafting tracks. This is also a guy racing for a job going forward, because we're all pretty certain that he's not going to be in the 35 car next year, right? Because that's got Corey Himes in it. They probably already have stickers printed for the 35 car next year. But get it while you can, Riley. So Zane Smith top 10 plus 320 on DraftKings. Riley Herbst top 10 plus 700 on FanDuel.
I'll jump ahead to mine because you brought up Zane Smith, and I also had a Zane Smith one in the doc before you added that top 10 in there. So I got Zane Smith to win Group F over on Caesars. This is plus 350. So if you think he can get in the top 10, I think he can as well, and I think he can finish better than the likes of Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones, and Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland, I don't understand. In this group, did they need another name? And they're like, I don't. Let's get Todd Gilliland in this one. I know we talk about him a lot on super speedways, and I get that we bring his name up, but he's 26th overall in average finishes here on this track among active drivers. 21.3 average finish with finishes of 27, 17, 15, 16, 26, 27, 15, 27. Like a couple of top 15 finishes and 15 adjacent is not going to move the needle for me very much when, like you had talked about earlier with Zane Smith, yeah, he started out 35th and 21st, but since then it's been 11th and 7th in this. We just watched him go out and have a solid showing, winning the first stage of the Daytona 500 last week. So for Zane Smith, I feel like that momentum's a lot better than the likes of, well, first of all, Todd Gilliland, but Ty Gibbs on this track. How about 9th in his debut in the spring of 2023? Then he goes on to 34th, 10th, 17th, 32nd, 14th, right? Mid-pack, backpack, not really the best. And for Ty Gibbs, me. Like I'll call it like I see it with him. No, I won't. I'm not completely unbiased when it comes to Ty Gibbs. I don't think he's going to do well. I just don't, from a week-to-week basis. Shake your head all you want, but like he hasn't proved us wrong, or he hasn't proved me wrong yet. And then for Eric Jones, this is the tough.
Yet.
Whatever, I don't even care. Look at his average speed ranking on this track for Ty Gibbs. You got to keep scrolling. It's 21st overall among active drivers, 19.7. Zane Smith right behind him at 20, but he's got still 2 races in hand, does Ty Gibbs. But that is beside the point. Eric Jones, kind of the one that makes you go a little bit on this one, because Eric Jones, we know, is a decent enough pack racer. He's a decent enough speed when it comes to this, but Eric Jones overall,
he's banned.
He's banned. Well, yeah, he's banned for Cody for.
He took out Hocevar last week, so
well, that's why
we're not going to talk about Eric Jones for a while.
You're lucky I didn't take him in this group for that very reason.
I know. I'm surprised your whole card isn't just Eric Jones.
Okay.
Just thanking him for last week.
No, but for Eric Jones, look, it's tough because when we talk about the last few finishes for him, yeah, he finished 5th here in the fall of last year, but before that, 31st, 26th, 25th. A good string of 11th, 8th, 4th, or 14th, 4, and 8 before that. But that's just frustrating. And of course, we know that Legacy, they've come a long way. But for Eric Jones, it really is kind of hit or miss at Atlanta, and it's been more miss than hit lately. So out of the group, you made such a strong case for Zane Smith to be a top 10. These other guys are more fringe top 10 to me than Zane Smith is this week. So I like him to win the entire group. That's Group F on Caesars at plus 350. Plus, I love the number.
Yeah, I think it's a great number. And really, really like Zane this week. Obviously, I just talked about him. So glad you're on the same page with me there. Wanted to shout out Rin. First time I've seen you in the chat. So welcome. It's good to see all these new names. Been getting a lot more people subscribing and stuff here lately. So we appreciate all of you. All the original people, the returning people. Shout out Cousin Danny. And the new people like Rin. So it's great to have all of you. Says, what's up, fellas? Late here, but man, I almost died at the clash with the SVG ladder top Chevy 310. Oh boy, that you got to sweat on that one. Was running 1-2 for neither to finish the race. Quick $8,000 swing. We were so close. Rin, but Hocevar is going to make us a lot of money this year for sure, Rod. All right, next up for me, going to jump over to the top Toyota market. Again, love this market, and we saw this last week, right? You end up with a guy like Ricky Stenhouse ends up being the top finishing Chevy. Now, granted, super speedways, drafting tracks, he's a little shorter, but still some variance in there. We saw in the O'Reilly race, the top finishing Toyota in that race was 26th, I think. So that's the other side of the coin, right? And yes, less in there. They're not the level we have here. Probably not going to happen in Cup Series, but we've seen before where 11th, 12th can be high enough to cash one of these out. Whatever the case is. Only 9 Toyotas in the field, so that's obviously a bonus in and of itself. You bet 2 of them, now you only have to go beat 7 other drivers. It's just not a crazy thing to do. So we're going to start with John Hunter Nemechek, 22-1. Again, chasing guys near the bottom of the board that have big numbers. We talked about this on the recap show Sunday night when we were live. I said if I had to give out a most impressed by award, John Hunter would be the guy that got that in the Daytona 500. It didn't end extremely well for him. Obviously, the car got pretty crunched up. Wrong place, wrong time in that Allgaier wreck, and it just didn't pan out. But he was running well. He was impressive, leading the pack, changing lines, throwing blocks, pushing. A little bit of everything we saw from him was great. Wrong time, wrong place happens at drafting tracks. But wanted to be on him again this week, and I am in a few capacities here, one of them being the top finishing Toyota, 22-1. Legacy is going to improve big time on intermediates this year, according to Rin, which this is going to have that intermediate angle of racing to it as well, right? So you toss that in there. I think he'll be able to handle that well. And he was impressive in the truck race last week, which also helps. 10th place finish here last spring, though. So there you go. That's what you're looking at, right? Is, okay, he's done it before here. Got a 10th place finish. He's looked good. He's been very good at I think Talladega has been the one where he's been specifically better at, but in general, good. Finished well in the Daytona 500 last year. Obviously, well documented there. So John Hunter Nemechek, top 20, or top Toyota, rather. Top 20 would be great. Top Toyota, 22-1. And then Riley Herbst to 28-1. I just told you all the reasons. He literally almost won the Daytona 500 last week. He's 28-1. Why not, right? A 17th place finish here last year. He's certainly capable of doing it. And again, yes, obviously Denny should be one of the better ones here. Christopher Bell won here last year. Reddick's coming off the 500 win. Ty Gibbs, I was sad I couldn't work a Ty Gibbs bet into the card this week, Rod, because he's actually been really good at this track in particular of the drafting tracks. But so it's not, Toyota's not just an easy group by any means, but chaos happens, wrecks happen. We saw it last week. We'll see it this week. Enough stuff happens, and all of a sudden Riley Herbst is close to winning the Daytona 500. And had it not been for Reddick obviously winning, Riley is the top finishing Toyota last week. So yeah, I really like these. Nemechek 22-1, Herbst 28-1.
Yeah, I definitely like the John Hunter Nemechek one. Like we said, Legacy being good, but John Hunter seems to be the better of the two over the last few races, even considering the Daytona 500 and the end of last season as well, kind of peeking his head out. So I like that. And then, yeah, with Toyota, it can just be as simple as somebody getting the right push at the right time and winning this one. So I like it. All right, I'm going to go with a long shot top 10 of my own, and that is SVG. SVG. I tell you what, man, SVG, he was scary there for a little while in the beginning of that race, right? He was running up top at the Daytona 500 with a lot of those folks out there, and he was looking actually pretty damn good for a while. Obviously did not finish the way he wanted to finish, but that happens when you get totally marred up in the big one of all big ones over there on lap 125. Yeah, that was the frustrating thing for SVG. He was looking so good, kind of staying out of trouble for the most part. Did finish a lap down in 30th, but that was to me, that was encouraging to see SVG running around at the top with that one. So I'm going to kind of bank off of that. And we talked about it over the offseason, right? We talked a lot about the maturity of him already, and then what happens when he starts to mature into the role of ovals and super speedways. I mean, he gets another shot at it this week in Atlanta. He's got teammates out there that are, obviously good at this, right? He's got Ross Chastain who can help push him around. Connor Zilisch, for what it's worth. Like, I know you were all, no, but Connor Zilisch was actually in the pack too, doing something for a while until he wasn't.
Until he was wrecking for 3/4 of a lap and then took out half the field.
But that, again, that happens and people do that.
Oh, he looks like Jeff. Boom. There goes the field. Gordon.
There goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great job, Mike Joy.
But he's got a couple of good drafting partners. And so I feel like that's going to do him well again. The Chevy camp looked really strong in the Daytona 500 as well. So I like SVG. And again, if you're looking for a little more of, he's at plus 500 for a top 10 over there on, what is it? The FanDuel now? FanDuel, yep. They came out with the top 10s. That was a better number than what I had initially. So that's even good. To the fact that the folks over at Win the Race have fair market value for a top 10 finish at plus 529 for SVG. So this is pretty much fair market value. You're getting it a little lower than what Win the Race considers fair market, but at 5-1 for an SVG top 10, I am jumping on that, especially at 5-1.
Yeah, I like this. I was super, super impressed by what we saw from him last week. We've talked about it through the entire offseason. We expect him to be much improved this year on ovals in general. Now you're throwing in the drafting stuff, which he's gotten really pretty decent at, and the tire wear aspect of things. Different tires, tire wear. We saw it already in the Clash. Like that type of stuff helps him out. Handling. There's few people in the field that can be better at handling a car than he is because, yes, even though he's newer to NASCAR, he has all the experience dodging kangaroos. I don't know if did you see that, Rod? That car that hit the kangaroo last week? What the hell? Is that like hitting deer over here, I guess? Like it's just whatever it happens. Whatever. Okay. Just hit a kangaroo. But yeah, he's got really good car control, all that stuff. So no, I really like this bet. I'm glad you found a way to work him in the card. 5-1 FanDuel, great number.
Beautiful number. All right, let's move on to another Ford market here.
Yeah. So same thing with the Toyota market. We're going to attack the top Ford market. That's been trimmed down a little bit. A couple of the cars switching from Ford over to Chevy this year. There's only 10 Fords. Toyota being the small group, there's only 9 of them, but there's only 10 Fords. So it's not much more when we get to the Ford market because the Custers, the Wares, those guys have left Ford, and it's just a little smaller these days. So you like that. Rick Ware doesn't have a second car, which they don't. Obviously they're Chevy now, but the additional cars not here. You don't have the Corey LaJoys in this field or whatever. So 10 drivers. It's the same thing as Toyota. Now, the Ford market, the top 3 favorites in this race are Penske. So yes, you've got that, and I certainly think that Blaney, Logano, and even Cindric are going to be some of the best cars and some of the top cars. I know you're going to talk about one of those guys in a bit to win this race. And I think they definitely should be the favorites and all that, but it happens. We know it can happen, right? Look how good RFK was in the duels. Look where they were on the last lap. That's the type of stuff that happens in these types of races. That's what you're betting on, literally, in this case. So going to long shots again, because that's the strategy at these types of tracks. Throwing these small darts, just little darts, right? These aren't big full unit plays, so however you want to do it, but smaller plays for the most part. Gilliland 22-1, and Zane Smith 25-1. Already talked about Zane, obviously, how impressed with him, how impressed we've been with him, how well he's been doing on the drafting tracks. So I like that. I know you took a shot at Gilliland earlier, Rod, but he does have 4 finishes, a 17th or better here, so not overly great, but in that area, we'll take that. 11th place finish at Daytona in the fall, rather. 2nd place at Talladega in the fall. Less comparable to Talladega is definitely, but draft and track, all that stuff. 8th and 7th place finishes at Talladega in the past as well. So he's run well here. The results haven't always been, indicative of how he's run. Maybe if he can get to the end. Again, you're taking 2 of these. Now you only have to beat 8 other Fords. If something happens to the Penske trio, probably need something to happen to the RFK trio too. But it certainly can happen. We saw it last week with Zane Smith. I think Zane, I don't remember how it shook out. Where did Zane finish? I think he might have ended up being the top Ford. Or no, maybe he wasn't. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But he was right there. He was 2nd place on the last lap as he's pushing Chase Elliott, So that's the position he could put himself in. He did it last week, despite how good we thought Blaney was going to be, how good we thought Logano was going to be, how good we thought the RFK Fords would be. That's the type of scenario where it happens. That's what it ends up being. So that's why you take these bets, because the possibilities there, that's what we're looking for. 22-1 on Gilliland. Zane's being even longer is crazy to me. 25-1 on Zane. I think these are both great numbers.
Yeah, Zane ended up finishing sixth, the third Ford in line, Logano, Kozlowski, and then Zane Smith. So
yeah, because those guys pushed through. But Zane, like, had we caution flagged that, right, like NASCAR normally does, Zane finishes top Ford. And again, depending on how that last wreck ends up working out, he could have been. So he was right there with the chance to be. That's what you're looking for in these types of scenarios. So that's what I want. These, by the way, were over on DraftKings. I think the only place I saw top manufacturers, at least at this, maybe 365 had them too. I can't remember now, but whatever.
Yeah, DK definitely had them because I know that's where I got mine as well. So, all right, you talked about the guy that I'm going to talk about, the Penske Ford that I'm going to talk about. It's got to be Ryan Blaney at this point. And I know somebody brought him up earlier in the chat. Ryan Blaney, this is like the strong arm emoji. Like there's no way you're not taking Ryan Blaney in any capacity in this one. And that's a top 5 for sure. Plus 150 over on FanDuel, and then I'll take him as the top Ford. I can't believe he's 3-1 to be the top Ford in this. If you look at our friends over at iFantasy Race, and they've got the average finishing heat chart, he is second overall in terms of average finish with 10.9. But really, the only reason that he's that is because he finished 40th in the fall race last year in a heartbreaking race for him. But before that, 3 straight top 5 finishes of second, third, and fourth between the 2024 spring race and the 2025 spring race. He had a 9th place finish in 2023 in the fall, 7th in the spring, but 5th place in 2022, and then started off the initial era of the Atlanta Super Speedway, or the EchoPark Super Speedway, with a 17th place finish. But again, second overall in terms of average finish, and it is 10th. You talk about average speed ranking, Ryan Blaney tops the charts in terms of average speed ranking in the next gen era on this one, with a 9.63 average speed ranking, with Chase Elliott right behind him in 10th. And then this EchoPark next gen RPM, it is Ryan Blaney in second on that list in terms of overall. But the driver rating rank, that's like rubber baby buggy bumper. He's first overall in that, right? Just 1,000% Ryan Blaney. This track screams Ryan Blaney, and if you got to get in on him on a top Ford at 3-1 and a top 5 at plus 150, you absolutely grab that, because I don't know that Ryan Blaney is going to be denied in this particular race. I know, like I said, he finished 40th last fall, but in statistics, when you take the outlier and you throw it out and you average the rest of them, that's what you do with that 40th place finish, because everything else is a shade of green other than his first start on this track in the new configuration. So, like I said, it's Ryan Blaney's track. We're all just driving on it.
Yeah, I like this. Look, I mentioned it earlier, right? While I made a case for some of the longer shot Fords, you certainly could play Blaney and these guys, and then you kind of have both sides of the coin. If it does go chalkier, Blaney's the one I would want of the Penske cars, and the tire wear leans in well for him, and he's been one of the best drafting track guys there is. So, yeah, no argument with me from me, I guess, on Ryan Blaney. Speaking of no argument, Rod, I'm sure we'll agree on this next guy. Look, it almost worked out so well last week. How do we not run the Carson Hocevar car lift back? Of course we're going to run it back. It's another drafting track. We saw it last week. He took the white flag. I'm sure my wife would tell you, I was standing up. I was in front of the TV. I was yelling. I was screaming. I go, just get the white flag. Just get the white flag. That's all I was saying on the last lap. And she goes, why do you want him to get to the white flag? I said, because as soon as he gets to the white flag, they're going to wreck. And then the caution, and Carson Hocevar wins. And she's like, I don't know what any of that means, but cool. But he took the white flag as the leader. We were so close. There's no way I'm not playing this week and missing out on a chance for it to happen. By the way, speaking of caution flags in the last lap, if they'd have waited half a second longer to throw out the caution flag on the last lap last spring, Hocevar was coming like a bat out of hell. He passed Bell, but it was too late. The caution had already flown. Bell was declared the winner, and when they stole Carson Hocevar's first career win, but they saved it for us this year, Rod, to give it to us this year when we have the over win total, when we're betting the car lift on him. So shout out to NASCAR for that. Yeah, love Carson Hocevar this week. You can get the top 10 plus 145 over on DraftKings, the top 5 at plus 350 on DraftKings, top finishing Chevrolet 13-1 over on DraftKings, win the race 30-1 over on DraftKings. He actually has the 7th best average finish here in his starts, that is limited starts, right? But 11.8 is his average finish, so right on that top 10 bubble. he's been great here. He's finished 19th and 16th here in 2024, but obviously almost won that race last year, and then finished 10th here in the fall. So top 10 in both races. We saw what we needed to see last week. That's all I got for you. Give me the Carson Hocevar car lift. Top 10 plus 145, top 5 380, top Chevy 13-1. Win the race 30-1.
Is it going to get old if I continue to just read off Carson Hocevar as an American race car driver? That is, okay. All right.
And if you're newer to the show, when we get to COTA next week, I will not be betting on Carson Hocevar. I'm not a complete maniac, okay? But, like, yes, I love the kid. It's a fun bid, all that stuff. But you saw how close we were last week. Like, he took the white flag as the race leader at the Daytona 500. You can't get a lot closer than that. We were so close, and he's been even better at this track, which I love.
My next bet, I'm going back to the winning car number. I am a maniac, and I continue to go back to these winning car numbers each and every week, even though last week did not hit. Unfortunately, on either end of it, I did give out the lower than or the over the under 19.5 on Veasan. I can't remember which side of that is. Yeah, but obviously
over.
Yeah, obviously over with Tyler Reddick. So, but this time I'm going to give you half of the field, and I'm going to give you the even half of the field. Winning car number even minus 125. This is, of course, the favorite, but you also get the likes of Ryan Blaney. You get Austin Cindric, who we just talked about is not really
all three Penske cars.
All three Penske cars. Yes, you get Ryan Blaney, you get Joey Logano, and then you get your Austin Cindric in that one as well. You also get Brad Keselowski, who people think he's on a comeback after last week. You get Kyle Busch. You get look, if AJ Allmendinger accidentally wins this one, you get Allmendinger. But you get Bell also. You get Byron, which is an overlooked sort of guy. We didn't even bring him up. You get John Hunter Nemechek. And then you get Alex Bowman, who could accidentally win a race. If you really believe Ty Gibbs can do this, but you don't have the balls to put money on him, then you get Ty Gibbs in this one as well. You get Ryan Preece, who we kind of overlooked as well. And then you get Connor Zilic in that. So there's a pretty hefty, but for me, I really think it boils down to a couple of these guys, right? It comes down to the Penske Fords of Blaney and Logano that I feel like are going to be right there at the end of this race. Look, Connor Zilic finished 11th in this race for what it's worth in the fall. Glaze over, but guess what? Guess where Carson Hocevar finished in that one? 10th. So Carson
better than Connor Zilic is what
by
you're saying.
one spot. You got to be freaking kidding me.
Is better or is better worse, Rod?
These guys, you're putting Carson Hocevar on the biggest pedestal in the world, and he finished 10th.
You didn't even realize you were walking into.
Look,
you thought he was going to be farther down the sheet, didn't you? You weren't even listening.
I didn't. I knew where he was. And Carson Hocevar finishing 19th in his first start, where Connor Zilic finished 11th in his first start. I'm just saying, like, whatever.
Crown him. Crown him if you want to crown him, Rod.
He is who he thought he was. But yeah, I'm going to take the winning car even. Like I said, this is a minus 125, but I truly believe that one, if not two of these guys are heavily in play for this one.
Yeah, I really like this because you do get the three Penske cars. You get two of the RFK cars in Keselowski and Preece. That's great options. Bell won this race last year. You get Byron, who's obviously always great at the drafting track stuff. So you do get a lot of good drivers in this. So other than Carson Hocevar drives an odd number car, that's obviously what's going to hurt you in this. But just in case he doesn't win, I think you're getting a pretty solid group there. JDK throwing out a Blaney Busch dual forecast, 55-1. I don't hate it. And Hunter wants Penske to win plus 350 on Bet Rivers. If you're going to bet a team to win, that's probably the team, right? They've obviously got the three favorites. Having all three at that number isn't a bad deal, right? I don't have any of the Penske cars winning. Rod does have one of them, but they should be the favorites here for a good reason. So, and Hunter also likes the Nemechek at 22-1. Top Toyota. Thanks, Hunter. I appreciate that. All right, Rod, should we get to the outrights?
Let's get to the outrights.
Let's do it. Again, loaded card, just like last week. It's the shotgun unit, but look back at last week. Hocevar was leading on the last lap, gave him out at 38-1. Elliott leading on the last lap, gave him out at 16-1. Riley Herbst, almost there, gave him out at 125-1. Like, we had guys in the mix at the end, and that's what you're looking for. They're all pretty much long shots. That's what you're going for. I do want to say I almost had Kyle Larson on the outright this week, Rod, because if he's going to win a drafting track race, this feels like the one. So if you're inclined to take that, I don't hate it. I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger, but I do actually sort of like Larson this week. That being said, I'm taking Chase Elliott, 13-1 over on BetMGM. Took him last week, and look, he was leading on the last lap. Again, how much closer do you want to get? 11.4 average finish here at this track. Won this race in the summer. 9th and 2nd in the stages last year. Led 41 laps, so he was very good in this race. Mixed results, like you mentioned earlier, right? The win, a 20th and 8th, the 15th to 13th. He won here in July of 22. Again, some of those were after he missed one of the races here because of that injury. Coming back from the injury was a little slower, but overall, been some pretty solid finishes for him. Almost won last week at Daytona. I think he can carry that momentum into his home track this week. 13-1. Kyle Busch at 20-1. We're going to jump back on the Busch train. He has been really, really good here. He's got the best average finish at this track in the last 6 races. 8.8 is the average finish for Kyle Busch here. Talked about him earlier over Brad Keselowski. He's been the best here statistically over the last 6. 21st place here in the fall, but before that, 7th in the spring, where he led 13 laps. 7th in the fall, where he led 24 laps. 3rd place by, again, just this much in that 3-wide finish in the spring of 2024. He led 28 laps that day. 5th and 10th place in 2023. He always finds his way up front here. You factor in the mile-and-a-half stuff where he's been decent on. You factor in the tire wear. That's the type of stuff that leans into Kyle Busch. I like it. 20-1. We'll take him. Ricky Stenhouse is 40-1, Rod, over on Caesars. You think of him as a drafting track guy. I tend to think of him more as a Daytona Talladega guy, but he's actually really good at this track as well. 9.7 average finish in the last 6. He's been great here. 6th and 5th place finishes last year. At 40-1, you're 6th and 5th. You got a shot to win this thing at the end. 14th and a 6th again in 2024 and a 10th and 17th in 2023. He's been good, looked good last week. I mean, if they throw the caution as that wreck happens, Ricky Stenhouse, a 2-time Daytona 500 champion. That's what we're talking about. Instead, you're getting him at 40-1 this week. I think that's a pretty good deal. Daniel Suarez, actually the first driver I put in the document this week, Rod, 40-1 on BetMGM. Hopefully you got him at 50-1 when he opened at that, but people have already been betting him. Last year was really, really bad. 34th and 33rd in the 2 races. It just did not work out for him. Last year at Trackhouse, whatever. New life at Spire here. He was really good before that. 2024, first place in that crazy 3-wide finish. Goes out, gets the victory, comes back in the fall and finishes in 2nd place. The summer before that, 2nd place in 2023. That was 3 races in a row where he finished 1st or 2nd place at this track. Had a 29th place finish that spring. But then in 2022, 6th and 4th place finishes. So outside, 3 of those last 6, or 3 of the last 8 really have been trouble, right? The 29th, the 33rd, and the 34th. But outside of that, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 6 finishes. At 40-1, this is a great number on Daniel Suarez to win at BetMGM. Zane Smith, I've already talked about him a ton earlier on. I don't need to continue to beat the horse. 70-1 on Caesars. He's been close. I like him. John Hunter Nemechek. I was so impressed with what I saw last week. He's 80-1. Not going to miss out on the chance. And then AJ Allmendinger brought him up in the head-to-head earlier. You can get him 85-1 on Caesars, a bit higher than he is a lot of other places. 12th and 14th place last year, 3rd place in 2023. I know he was virtually invisible last week for whatever reason, but still a good drafting track guy, a guy that can put himself in position. Tire wear, road course guy, these things all go in line. Veteran, I like all those things. 85-1 for Allmendinger. So Elliott 13-1, Busch 20-1, Stenhouse 40-1, Suarez 40-1, Smith 70-1, Nemechek 80-1, Allmendinger 85-1. It's a lot, but you're taking your sprinkles. It almost so close last week, Rod. We were so close. I'm feeling good this week.
Yeah, again, this is one of those ones where it will come down to probably the very, very last lap, and it'll come down to milliseconds between these guys to actually do it. And Dirty Reg saying number of drivers that got a real shot of winning this race. You think maybe 10 different drivers could? No,
nowhere close to 10. So last week at Daytona, it was realistically 37, probably 37, 38 of the 41. This week, I would say 30 drivers have a pretty realistic shot at winning this. I mean, this is, yes, there's more of the intermediate, there's more of the tire wear, but it's still a drafting track. Like, it's going to look like Daytona did. I think we might get some spread out a little bit more just because of tire wear and stuff, but drafting track wise, it still gives just about everybody in the field a shot. And that's why I'm taking again, if you're newer to the show, when we get to Coda next week, I'm not going to have 6 guys of 40-1 or higher. That's just not. Now, we have hit a 40-1 at Coda before. Shout out to Ross Chastain. But that's not how it's going to work, right? This is a drafting track strategy. That'll be different going forward. But this type of track, all these guys can certainly win this race.
Indeed, yeah. And then you look at the last couple of years too, when the average margin of victory, like last fall, was 0.168. There was a couple of them that were under caution. The 2024 one that you were talking about was 0.003 second average or margin of victory there. Another one under caution. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens that 0.193 in 2023. So there's a lot of guys that are going to be finishing right around each other, which gives everybody an opportunity if the right caution falls at the right time. So, all right, I am going to take Ryan Blaney as my outright at 10-1. Like I said, this is a little bit, I tend to play the shorter odds guys. I know Cody likes a shotgun unit, and that's, well, like you said, we were so close to hitting, but I think Ryan Blaney, this is one of those instances where he is going to probably end up getting this race. He's just run so damn well here. And he doesn't have a win in the new configuration era. His last win on this track was in 2021 in the fall race. And since then, it's been Kurt Busch, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Logano, William Byron, Suarez, Logano, Bell, and Elliott. But as we talked about, Ryan Blaney's been right there. He's been the fastest. He's been the most consistent, pretty much, with the exception of Chase Elliott, who is jockeying for position with him as well. So for him, I mean, he's been more of a contender on this track than a lot of other folks. And I think this is his race to pick it back up again. We saw in the Daytona 500 where, unfortunately it didn't pan out Ryan Blaney's way for the end of the race, especially. And he got caught up in the mix and got taken out in one of those wrecks and never really recovered from there. But, Ryan Blaney is a good pack racer. He's a good drafting racer. And I feel like, to me, this is a Ryan Blaney week. And for God's sake, that mustache belongs in victory lane.
Yeah, how did we talk about Ryan Blaney? We didn't even bring up the picture, Rod. Again, how do you not want to bet on a mustache like that? It just, what a beautiful look. Beautiful, beautiful look.
It is indeed. All right, that's it. That's the betting card, my folks, for the EchoPark Speedway and the Autotrader 400. So with that being said, get out your pen and paper. It is time to go over our bets for this race. I started you out with Chase Elliott over Austin Cindric at -115. I gave you SVG as a top 10 car at 5-1. I said Ryan Blaney would be the top 10 car, a top 10 car at +150, and the top Ford at +310. I said Zane Smith is going to win Group F over on Caesars at +350 over Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones, and Todd Gilliland. I gave you the winning car number at even at -125. And then, of course, I gave you Ryan Blaney to win this race at 10-1. Cody gave you Kyle Busch over Brad Keselowski at or even money rather. And then AJ Allmendinger over Noah Gragson at -115. He went on to give you Zane Smith as a top 10 car at +320. Riley Herbst as a top 10 car at 7-1. He's giving you the top Toyota as John Hunter Nemechek 22-1. Riley Herbst at 28-1. Saying Gilliland and Smith at Gilliland at 22-1. Smith at 28-1 is the top Ford. Riding the Hocevar car lift again, top 10 +145, top 5 +380, top Chevy 13-1, and the winner of the race at 30-1. And gave you the following outrights: Chase Elliott at 13-1, Kyle Busch at 20-1, Ricky Stenhouse at 40-1, Daniel Suarez at 40-1, Zane Smith at 71, John Hunter Nemechek 80-1, AJ Allmendinger 85-1 to win this race. There it is, Cody. Atlanta, baby.
We made it, Rod. Another pick show. Shout out to everybody who's hung with us live today. We appreciate it. As always, if you listen on the podcast or later on the video, whatever, we appreciate all you guys. This drafting track, the super speedway stuff is really fun. It's fun when these long shots give us the shots they do. Again, give it a couple of weeks. Let's get into the road course, the short tracks next couple of weeks here. It's going to be a really, really fun season and looking forward to it.
Indeed. Yeah. Again, even though YouTube is down, it hasn't stopped you guys from soldiering on, and we appreciate that as well. So, all right, we're back tomorrow, and we will have for you the trucks and the Xfinity odds pending. If they give us odds for that, we'll bring it to you. If not, we'll have to adjust.
Trucks and O'Reilly, Rod. But
did I say Xfinity? Swear jar.
Swear jar.
Trucks and O'Reilly.
Yes. The plan is Trucks and O'Reilly combined tomorrow. There is pretty much all the O'Reilly odds are out already, so I have hope. But if we need to switch to DFS, we will. It'll be fluid as needed. So subscribe to the YouTube. That's the best way to do it. Click the bell so you know when we go live, so you're not showing up late to class like Frank. Oh, just kidding.
He shows up late, but he always has a tardy note.
That's right. As long as you're here. That's all we care about. So, all right, Rod. Good luck to everybody. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Lots of it, even though football season's over and all that. There's always stuff. So check it out. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Always sports to cover, indeed. Yes. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Find everything I'm up to out there as well. And yeah, like Cody said, subscribe, like, comment, do all the things that keep this channel growing as it is. And we'll continue to bring you all of the buffet of picks, Frank's Hungry Boys, while we're feeding you. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. And until then, everybody, join us on our never-ending quest to make NASCAR betting fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.